Welcome back to yet another episode of desperate and obsessed royalists who seem to be completely losing their minds over Prince Harry. Seriously, it is getting wild out there. If you've been scrolling through the news lately, you've probably noticed that the royal experts and talking heads are absolutely spiraling right now. They are pushing these frantic, almost breathless claims that behind the scenes, King Charles is actually choosing Prince Harry over Prince William. Let that sink in for a second. The level of panic in their voices is almost palpable. But here's the best part. When they tried dragging the Sussexes into their latest messy narrative to stir up the usual drama, they were quickly and completely shut down. It totally exposed just how desperate the speculation has become, and honestly, it is hilarious to watch them scramble. Now, let's be totally real here. These rumors definitely remain just rumors. We aren't saying there's a secret contract signed in gold ink. But wow, the sheer volume of the spiraling from these traditional royalists speaks volumes. It says so much about how Prince Harry is still deeply feared by the establishment. They can't stop talking about him. They are obsessed. At the end of the day, he is definitely the hardworking prince who went out, built his own life, and did things on his own terms. Just by existing and being successful out there in California, he is causing massive, non-stop tension for the royalists who desperately need him to fail to prove their own points. Think about the sheer irony of the situation for a moment. For years, the narrative was that Harry was cast out, irrelevant, and done. But look at them now. Every single move he makes, every breath he takes, is analyzed like it's a national security threat. The British media and these self-proclaimed experts are literally waking up in a cold sweat trying to figure out if Charles is secretly texting his youngest son. They are so terrified of the idea that the king might actually love and miss his son that they have spun themselves into a web of conspiracy theories. They want us to believe there's this massive, dramatic preference happening behind closed doors. Yet when the moment anyone asked for actual facts, the whole house of cards collapses. What this really shows is a deep underlying insecurity within the royal reporting machine. They built this entire ecosystem on the idea that Harry and Meghan were the ultimate villains who would fade into obscurity. Instead, Harry is out there launching global initiatives, hosting successful games, and living his life peacefully. That success is what drives the tension. It drives them absolutely crazy because it doesn't fit the script they wrote. So they have to invent new drama, even if it means claiming the king is favoring the exiled son over the heir apparent. It is pure comedy at this point. You have to love how these so-called royal experts try to play both sides of the fence when they realize their arguments are completely falling apart. One day they're screaming from the rooftops that Harry is permanently banned from the family, and the next they're whispering about secret midnight phone calls between the king and his youngest son, claiming William is being pushed to the side. The whiplash is real. It's like they're writing a terrible soap opera in real time, but they forgot to coordinate their plot lines. When you actually step back and look at the nonsense they're peddling, you realize they're trapped in a loop of their own making. They cannot sustain a news cycle without mentioning the Sussexes, so they have to invent these wild power struggles just to keep people clicking. And when the Sussex camp predictably ignores them or shuts down the narrative with a simple reality check, the experts look completely ridiculous, standing there with no sources and a whole lot of egg on their faces. Let's talk about that fear factor for a second, because that is really what's driving this whole circus. Why are they so terrified of the idea of King Charles leaning toward Harry? It's because Harry represents everything the traditional royal rota cannot control. He walked away from the golden cage, dropped the royal protocols, and still managed to maintain a massive global platform. That is the ultimate sin in their eyes. The establishment relies on the idea that you are nothing without the crown, that the institution is the ultimate prize. But Harry proved that you can step away from the drama, build a life of genuine impact, and still have the world hanging on your every word. Every time he shows up at a charity event, or launches a new project, or just looks genuinely happy, it completely dismantles the narrative that he ruins his life by leaving. That is why they spiral. They need him to be miserable, and because he isn't, they have to project this chaotic energy onto. The truth is, the Royalists are the ones who are insecure. They look at Harry's work ethic, his natural ability to connect with everyday people without the rigid structure of a palace press team, and they see a threat. He doesn't need a herald or a court circular to tell people he's working hard. His actions speak for themselves. That work ethic, combined with his independence, is exactly what keeps the palace commentators awake at night, desperately spinning threads out of thin air just to keep the drama alive. The absolute pinnacle of this whole absurdity is how the Royalists handle being called out on their own fiction. When the smoke clears and the sources close to the Sussexes, or even the palace itself, quietly signal that these breathless rumors of secret favoritism and backdoor deals are completely fabricated, the commentators don't apologize. Oh no. They just pivot instantly to a brand new grievance. They shift the goalposts faster than you can blink. It's a masterclass in psychological projection. They invent the fire, fan the flames for a week of non-stop television panels and front-page headlines, and then blame the person they were writing about for the smoke. You honestly have to laugh at the sheer audacity of it all. It shows that this was never about reporting the news. It's about maintaining a highly profitable, deeply obsessive grudge match. But the biggest takeaway from this latest meltdown is just how much power Prince Harry still holds over the entire British media landscape without even trying. He is literally living thousands of miles away, focusing on his family, his archetypes, and his global philanthropic efforts, and yet he is the undisputed main character of the royal news cycle. The establishment is caught in this toxic paradox, where they desperately want to declare him irrelevant, but they literally cannot survive a single day without using his name for engagement. He is the hardworking prince who broke the mold, and every time he succeeds outside of their strict, antiquated system, it exposes the flaws within that system. The Royalists are terrified because if Harry can thrive on his own merits, then the magic spell of the monarchy loses its power over the public imagination. They need the drama to keep people distracted from that realization. At the end of the day, all this frantic spiraling and desperate narrative spinning all it does is prove that the Sussexes won the long game. They chose peace, purpose, and independence over the constant backstabbing of the palace press machine. So let the talking heads continue to lose their minds on live television, let them cook up wild theories about King Charles's secret preferences, and let them get shut down time and time again. It is spectacular entertainment, and it only makes the Royalists look more isolated and unhinged with each passing day. Thank you so much for sticking around for this entire breakdown. If you love seeing the truth cut through the royal hype, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this video with anyone who needs a good laugh today. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.